Hi, it's Warren Huart here. Hope you're doing marvellously well. I'm here with the great Kenny Aronoff, and we're at Sunset Sound. We've been tracking with Ronnie Lee.
Well, this is not rolling, obviously. So, is there any reflection on my head? Should I get powder? Are we rolling? No, we're not rolling, right? Are we? We are?
I don't know, yeah. What about my chin?
Dude, you don't have to worry. I have the issues with hair. I get glare.
You do?
Dude, the first time I ever did Saturday Night Live was the most embarrassing moment. I'm doing Saturday Night Live, and it's live, and it's with Mellencamp, and I was nervous. Now I don't get nervous about it, but I was nervous. And all of a sudden, up there, and they're setting up, they're going 2 minutes before you go on the air. Some lady comes running through the audience and comes up to me. I'm like, whoa, and she goes, poof, 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 to get the glare off.
Get the glare off, yeah.
The whole audience laughs.
That's
if
awesome.
that had happened now, I would have made out with her. I would have pulled my pants down. But back then, I was like,
I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, I'm bald. I didn't know I was bald. Anyway, I guess it is wrong. I see that red light on. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Did I blow this whole thing? Too bad. Let's go. What do you want to know?
You know what? I want to know about your kit, because we're going to talk about how we mic it and stuff afterwards. And
Okay. Well, let's talk with this particular session. I'm using a 1955 old Ludwig. Can I take this off?
Yeah, let's take it off.
He made a tunnel to isolate the bass drum a little bit better. But this is a 1955. What's cool about this is a 1955 Ludwig 26-inch drum. Usually I use like there's a 24-inch high drum, drum head size with a 16-inch depth, which is a rock and roll drum. This is a 26, 2 inches higher and 2 inches shallower. So it's kind of like the John Bonham, size drum. What happens when it's a little shallower is when you hit the kick drum, it hits that front head quicker, which gets a little bit more pop, snap, but then you get your depth from a little bit more height. It's a tricky drum because some sound good, some don't.
This one sounds great.
This one's good. It's not too boingy and ringy, and you can, some padding inside. This is great. I mean, I told Warren about it, and Warren went, well, that might be, he's right, man. A lot of 26s don't sound good. Anyway, I use a wood beater all the time because I love that impact on a drum.
Yeah, I agree.
It just gives it a snap. The snare drum, this is my signature, one of my 3 signatures. It's a hand engraved. I wanted like kind of a vintage look. This is basically modeled after my favorite snare drum ever made, which is a Ludwig Superphonic 400, which I'm sure you know about.
Love it.
And pre-62, anything from 62 and before, the Ludwig metal had brass in it, a lot of brass in it, as this does. See, when they engraved on the, whatever they put, this black dye on the drum, when they engraved through it, you see the brass. I sent the old Ludwig snare drums, you pick them up, they're heavy. And when they took the brass out, they're not as heavy. So And they had this Keystone badge, which is kind of like this, a little smaller than the one that's on this bass drum, if you want to show them this. Keystone badge has that look to it. The one that was on the original Ludwig Superphonic 400 was a little bit different than that, but that's the basic shape of it. Anyway, I sent it to Japan, and they wanted to do a signature snare drum series for me, and I just said, make this drum. And they did.
That's amazing.
They did, because I come in to sessions with those drums, and then I've been bringing these. I don't even bring them anymore. And I have a 6.5, which is over there on the floor, which is the other, that's like the John Bonham size. You hold that one.
Oh,
it's just like this, but it's deeper, And this is more what John Bonham used.
Right.
Now, the whole thing, the other big main ingredient that makes my sound, it's not only it's metal, but it's got that warmth and attack to it. I put a die-cast tube on it. And the die-cast tube is a way more rigid hoop. It's higher. It controls the sound of the drum. If you had any weird overtones, it takes care of that. When every time I hit the drum, I hit the rim. And I don't know what the percentage of head and rim is, but it's my sound. And over the years, I hear a sound in my head, and I've adjusted my hands and my stick and everything to get that sound. So I couldn't tell you exactly what it is, but I'm going for a sound, and that is aggressive, fat, attack, a little ring. I may move my stick over to get a little more ring, depending on how much ring I want on that snare drum. But this die-cast flute, man, is the deal. It gives me the crack and the attack. And when I'm on tour with John Fogerty, I have 2 of these drums. Actually, I have 3 on the road. But every day we do a 30-minute sound check, just drums. He walks the room, and I have 2 of these all tuned to the same pitch. I even date the heads, and we go between each one because they're always just a little bit different. And John will talk about, well, could you move the mic a little bit, a half an inch back? Could you tune it up, just a quick little tweak here and there? And one day, my tech had gotten a new one of my drums here, and they come with triple flange hoop, which is a lower hoop, softer metal, and John heard the difference like that. I mean, there's a big difference. I was blown away. John Fogerty's brilliant with sonics and understands every instrument. Anyway, so that's the kick drum and snare drum are my main things. The next thing that is big for me is, I think, to me, you ask a drummer.
I have the same hats.
Yeah, 15-inch new beats. I love it. These are 15s. The standard size is 14-inch, and sometimes the 14-inch. It doesn't blend into the kit as much.
Right.
For me, I mean, I remember doing a good example. I remember doing a country session. I was in Nashville recording, and I was listening, and it seemed like there was the kit, and then the hi-hats were in their own world.
Sure.
And we got like 3 guitars, pedal, steel, fiddle, and I'm like, and the producer's like, "What's wrong?" I said, I want to do the drums over again. Nobody does that in Nashville. Everyone's like, what are you doing that for? I said, Trust me. Took the 14s out, put the 15s.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I could hear the guitars better because they were in the same frequency.
Right.
And these are a little lower. Also, the hats, whatever frequencies they were in, blended through the mics better. And all of a sudden, it was the kit sounded better. The guitars sounded better. And I use 15s whenever I can. They're just, I like, they got weight, they're a little bit more rock and roll.
No, I think they're the perfect balance. I love these cymbals in general because they're not too thick, they're still dark enough, they're still warm enough.
Right.
They're not like, dare I say, I don't want to trash Sabians, but I find Sabians really bright.
You know what these are? These are Armand, they're called Armand medium thin. Armand was Armand Zildjian. He was one of the brothers, the Zildjian brothers. Armand stayed with Zildjian, and Robert left and went and created Sabian. What I like about these, they were trying to create the old A's, which kind of had a little bit of K in it. Like a warmer A cymbal. And they're not real thick, and when they're thinner, they tend to be darker. So they still attack, but medium thin means they're not too brittle, and they very expressive. I mean, I'm glad you recognize that immediately. And this room is great. It's not too bright, as we talked about. Yeah. So if these cymbals were bright, it would be your worst nightmare for these overhead mics.
Yeah.
It'd be like, and these mics here, the overhead mics, Warren's put one left and right, and then the center really picks up the toms and the snare and the kick.
Yeah, they're all in phase with the snare.
But look where these cymbals are.
Yeah.
If these cymbals are harsh, he'll have to do all kinds of adjustments to compensate for these cymbals. And if you get the right cymbals, then he can do what he wants with these.
And
mics.
hitting them right, because one of the big, you've done 1 million recordings.
Yeah.
One of the biggest thing with a lot of kids as they're coming up is they're like doom da doom da.
Right.
And it's like everything is just cymbals.
You know what?
It's just knowing how to play within yourself and control how you play your cymbals.
Yeah, man, you brought up a big point. I mean, back in the day when I started, it was just everything was full on. Now, if you as a producer, engineer, musician yourself, I will adjust to whatever you need. So if I could play a whole kit softer, and then you bring the volume of the mics up, and it's a whole different sound.
Sure.
Basically, what you're talking about is being able to, with my own hands and feet, balance the kit out.
Right.
And just use your ears. That's why when I go in and listen to a playback, I'm listening going, ooh, maybe I should play the cymbals lighter. Maybe I should, I'm making adjustments. I don't mind. It's like being a surgeon, You can't like operate on a 400-pound fat guy the same as you're going to operate on a 90-pound ballerina.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
I thought, if you cut the same distance into that fat guy and you go right through the girl.
Yeah,
That's exactly. What I hear. I mean, I'm not a surgeon. But yeah,
So what about the toms and stuff?
Well, the toms, on this particular kit now, for years I did, my signature thing is 12 and a 10 here. I reversed my toms a long time ago with Mellencamp. So I go 12-10, and for years I was doing 14-16. Finally, I just got fed up with having the 16 over here. The point is, 12-16 is really that's what I spend most of my time on.
Right.
Snare, one rack, one floor, kick. So I finally went the heck with it. So I spent most of my time going 12-16. I just got an 18 and put the 18 over there. Now I've been with Tama 32 years, and they make such great equipment that you can actually get an 18-inch drum to sound great. They sound great, right? And it's like I don't use it all the time, but when I do go to it, it's just real low.
It's good. He's recording.
I mean, it's one sound, one tone. It's not like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You hit the here we'll go here like I may have beaten these a little bit, but yeah, that one's a little beaten. I need
Tuning's
to bring
great.
that. But you know, and
Three blind mice.
yeah, and they don't they all ring about the same amount, and they all got a tone. That's the thing about these Tama made. Even their tom-toms have die-cast hoops. So that centers the sound. Like, that's a Gretsch thing. Gretsch did that in the old days. But now, I've been with every company I endorse, I've been with my whole life, except I did make a switch about a year ago, which was with Evans heads. And there's nothing wrong with Remo. Remo makes great heads.
Right.
But a buddy of mine who works for Evans kept saying, could you help me out and try these heads out? So, I mean, I didn't forever because I don't want to mess up what I was doing. But on the road, I finally started putting them on and gave them a shot. And the engineer, who's badass, kept saying, what heads were you using on Monday? And then what heads did you use on Friday? And every time he said that, I was using Evans heads.
Right.
And I went, really? And they make a heavyweight head that's like unbelievable. I use it for live recording. This heavyweight head is off the charts.
Yeah, there's barely any wear on it. That's insane.
It'll stay forever. I mean, it's they got something. They told me some secret stuff I can't say, but
sure. We've done 6 songs today.
That'll be fine for a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I switched to Evans. Long story short, and I'm really happy. Without getting into details, that's what I'm doing.
It was fantastic.
I don't know. I'll just mention I'm a real stickler about writing out charts. The reason why, I mean, here's an example. This is a medium detailed chart. I mean, I write really anal charts. The reason why I do that is I'm usually taking on so much work I can't possibly memorize everything. So like tomorrow I'm going to record 4 songs for Pete Way from UFO,
sure.
And I don't have time like I did today. I mean, except we rehearsed for these songs. I'll walk in there and do 4 songs in 4 hours, probably less than that. And if I write it out, then I don't have to worry about memorizing. Or if I do like Kennedy Center honors, I'm playing with Sting and Springsteen and Mellencamp and Don Henley and all these Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, and you're rehearsing day of the show and you're playing in front of the president and it's being recorded in 16 cameras and you don't want to mess up. I can't remember all that stuff. There's no way. It's impossible. You cannot do a show like that unless you read. And you have to be able to read and re-edit, and then I'm on the plane getting ready for 3 more sessions. I can't memorize all that. I just can't do it, and it makes it easier. Like for day recording, Warren says something or Ronnie says something, and I go, oh, well, how am I going to remember the 7th measure of the 3rd chorus and add this and add that? I just write it out and sight read it. It just makes it easier for everybody. It took me a long time to be able to do that, though. I'd say 25 years to be able to be fluent at it.
Right.
So it's like, because one person once said to me, I think it was Melissa Etheridge, said, I can tell when you're reading, and that's when I went, that is not cool.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to sound like you're reading. That's not cool.
No, you don't want it to sound like rote, so it's just like...
Yeah, no. So now what I do is I step out of my body and sit up there and watch myself, and do you sound like you're reading? If you do, you better stop. You got to make it feel like it's live,
Right.
Like you're a beginner jamming and just feeling it. Yeah.
So you're probably just consciously looking at the whole chart and then playing it, as opposed to like
Yeah, I'm outside of the chart. It's like it's just guiding me.
Yeah.
But I'm really listening to how it sounds. And the big thing is, the biggest thing about being great as a musician, actually at anything in life, is listen to everybody else.
Right.
You pay attention to what you're doing, but you really listen to what everybody else is doing. Because even if I'm playing with a click, I'm listening to these musicians who are great today, so I'm trying to like adjust a little bit to make us all sound good, like a team. Yeah.
You know, it's the same as, you know, I read about speed reading, people that speed read books.
Right.
And when they read a book, they look at a page and they basically take in the whole page.
Right.
So you're doing the same thing. You're looking at the chart. You're not sitting there going measure by measure. You're just looking at it. And you got 16 bars in your head at one time.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to describe. But I see you get it. You get that kind of it helps you not make mistakes. But you're thinking music, song, ensemble, working with everybody. Like make it as if you were in the audience. How do you want this drummer and this band to sound? And you do that.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Can we hear you play?
Sure.
Let's I'm
a big meat and potatoes type of guy, but
anyway. Bloody marvellous, mate. Bloody marvellous.
Awesome. Warren.
Kenny, tell me about these sticks. Tell me about the sticks.
It's a signature stick. Well, you know, I was playing these big ass thick sticks, and when I went on tour with the Smashing Pumpkins, in the studio I was using 5B Extreme, made by Vic Firth, who was my teacher when I studied timpani in the day. Of the classical world, and I remember he started making sticks, and I was one of the first guys playing them.
That's wonderful.
And anyway, so what I did is I sent him the big stick which he was making, which was a rock profile, which is basically a rounder bead and a thicker neck.
Right.
You know, but the 5B Extreme tapered off like a jazz stick. It got really thin and had a little kind of a rectangular point.
Right.
And it was great, but not for rock. And this is a very evenly weighted stick from the front end and the back end. Believe it or not, I play way back here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Like the proper way, you know, if you want to play a stick that's balanced, like Buddy Rich and these guys, they play more in here, lets the stick bounce off. But I use a lot of wrist, like a molar technique, and I use a lot of wrist. And so I play back here, and I use my wrist and I lift. It's like a timpani thing. When you play timpani, you always work lifting. It's like the strokes like that, as opposed to like that. So I'm always lifting anyway, to get the tone out of the drum, as opposed to, that's the opposite, that's extreme, but.
Right.
So anyway, the stick is a 5B Extreme with a rock profile. That's basically it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. It reminded me of, do you remember the Premier Devil Seas?
Oh yeah.
Is that similar to that?
I'm not sure.
God, I'm just remembering being in England.
Yeah.
The olden days.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I remember the stick, but I don't remember. I'd have to put it next to it.
Because the Double C's is no American equivalent.
No, well, there's probably, but we don't use that. We use a different thing. Yeah. They're cool. I mean, you know, they're all weighted. They're all the same weight.
Right.
So that, you know, whenever I grab a stick, tour, I always have my sticks right there between the legs, so that left, right, I always go down and grab it. It's not in different locations. And yeah, I can play loud or soft with these things. But I carry, for sessions, I'll carry that jazz stick, you know.
Right.
So when I did I did this Hendrix, for this Hendrix movie, the one that Andre 3000 was in. We was playing
right.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of tracks on it, and so I saw what Mitch Mitchell was using. He was basically a jazz drummer. So I played with little sticks and tried to play lighter and get that whole fluidity. And they tried to, they had to mic things differently because I was playing lighter. And I whatever it takes,
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks very much for spending this time. I'm glad you played. It's really awesome.
Okay.
It's funny, I just posted an Instagram photograph and like 3 drummers go, Kenny's my favorite drummer.
Oh, awesome. Well,
Just on an Instagram.
People don't like me because they go like, get out of town, man, you're taking too much of our work.
That is what we call a quality problem for you.
Yeah,
a quality
quality problem. Well, there's a lot of there isn't as much work as there used to be, but
I think if you're good and you get on with people,
that's a big part of it.
It's
a big part. Someone once asked me, why Kenny Aronoff? I went, what are you talking about? Why Kenny Aronoff? I'm like, what are you talking about? So why would anybody hire you and not somebody else? And he says, and they answered the question. They said, it's not just the playing, man. It's like you have the ability to motivate a room. You get along with people. You make sessions go easy as opposed to harder.
Exactly.
You could call like 10 great drummers, but you could call the guy. It's going to make it easy, not hard. It's hard enough.
Yeah, and I want to look good.
Yeah,
I want to look good in front of the artist.
Exactly.
I mean, I really do.
That's what you did call me, make me look good. I thought you meant don't dress so nice and you meant play good.
Just play great.
Okay.
I love it when all I have to do is, that was really cool. Could you do that fill again? Thanks. I mean, that's the best piece of production ever. Where I only have to give him like 10 seconds of advice.
As if you had wired me that information.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, that's what I want. It's amazing. I became a much better producer when I hired better players. It's amazing how it works. That works, yeah.
You're the genius.
I'm a genius.
Well, that's true. It's like sports, man. Get the right team and a guy just wins.
Yep, exactly. All right, great.
Awesome.
Well, no, but back to your point, it's about the bullpen. It's all about the bullpen. That's what I was told. It's like you might have the best players, but they just have to get on with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how teams go to the Super Bowl, win NBA playoffs, and the titles. It's the team working as a team, and big time. Those are the big factors.
Yeah, that's how we make great music.
Yep.
Well, thanks very much, mate.
Oh, you're welcome, man.
Appreciate it.
Peace out, you guys.
As ever, please subscribe. Go to producelikeapro.com and sign up for the email list, and you'll get lots of free behind-the-scenes stuff. In fact, we're about to do a Sunset Sound one.
And you can go to my website, www.kennyaronoff.com, and I have a sign-up page, but I've been really bad at sending out messages to you guys. But sign up anyway.
Thanks very much. Thanks for watching. That was awesome, mate.
That was great.